Welcome Tiffin friends, family. Jason Griffin here on the campus of Tiffin University, and today we had a very special morning, and I'm joined by some great guests here that are going to tell us more about it. Dr. Lillian Schumacher is to my left, and Dean of the School of Business, and we're talking about the Entrepreneurial Boot Camp today, and you guys just had a wonderful morning. We're going to talk about what happened, but first, what prompted this? How did you come up with the idea? Tell us about how this started and what exactly is Entrepreneurial Boot Camp.
Okay, all right. Well, Dr. Haan has really wanted to champion an entrepreneurship program at Tiffin University, and I wholeheartedly agree that we need to do that. You know, you can't be a successful business school without having entrepreneurship as part of that. And so we're really trying to be intentional about what we do and how we do it. And so Dr. Haan and I have spent countless hours talking about this, trying to figure out how to do it in an intentional way and a strategic way. And so we had decided, Dr. Haan has created an entrepreneurship program. We're building it over time, and we had structured him to have a class in the fall. So he has a class, a 300 level class, so primarily juniors and seniors, that we're taking a class on entrepreneurship. We were thinking about how can we've heard a lot in this community about how do we build entrepreneurial spirit at a younger age in our community. So we talked about trying to partner with some area high schools to do this. So back in May, I went and made a presentation to our superintendents of the schools in the area, and was amazingly, and not surprised, but amazingly overwhelmed at the support for the program. And very long story short, they thought it would be a great situation to turn it into a college opportunities where students from the high schools could actually get college credit. So we scrambled because of the time of year that it was the end of the academic year for us and for the high schools. And so we wanted to figure out how to do this, and so we worked diligently to do that. And we ended up working to have our college class partnered with a dual-enrollment class. And we actually had five high schools that participated with Tiffin University in the class specifically. The participating high schools were Mohawk High School, Columbian High School, Wynford, Bettsville, and North Central Academy. We ended up, by the time we reached today, we had a couple of the students that had dropped out of the competition, but they have, for the most part, been very, very active. I also wanted to just take a second and recognize the sponsors,
Sure.
if I could. We had an overwhelming response from the community to support this event, and that was very, very heartwarming for me as well. Tiffin Charitable Foundation is a foundation in the community that supports a variety of projects and events. They are one of our main sponsors. These two individuals right here, Dr. Laura Mays and Dr. Dan Mays, believe so much in entrepreneurship. They too were sponsors. Dr. Haan also was a sponsor as well. So again, it really warmed our heart to see how much they really, as our own, wanted to be part of this. We also had Nubian CPA firm, Huntington Insurance, the Debker Group, Ohio Logistics, Tiffin Paper Company, McDonald's, and Marathon. All of these organizations helped fund this program. And we are actually giving out cash prizes to our students at the end of this. So very long story short, this became a class. It was a class that was conducted the entire semester this fall. So the college students met on a regular basis in a seated environment. It was a seated class, and they learned, I'll let Dr. Haan talk a little bit more in detail about entrepreneurship, innovation, and creativity. And then the high school students were in a hybrid format, and as part of the experience, so they did part of their class online, part of it seated, and then all of the students came together 3 times during the semester. 2 times back in October to hear a variety of speakers on entrepreneurship. Successful entrepreneurs themselves spoke to our students and really helped them think about how are they going to develop their business plan. And then today we are completing the actual business plan competition, which was the obviously culminating event at the end of this, and it's been very exciting for us today.
Well, it's a wonderful program. I was in there a little bit earlier and watching some of these students come together, and Dr. Haan, collaborating on these great ideas. And tell us a little bit more about what happened in there, what you learned during the morning, and some of the great ideas that you guys were able to hear.
Yeah. I've been in academia for almost 30 years, and probably of all the projects I've worked on, this was certainly for me the most fun. And I really think for the students one of the most beneficial. And I think from kind of an academic standpoint, they're able to take all the different things that they do in the accounting and finance and marketing and management law and all the other classes that they teach, and apply them to a specific product or service or company that they chose. And I think the fact that they chose it and got to create a program that they wanted to create for their own purpose, and actually they're just in this last speaker we just came out of was asked how many of them are thinking about maybe at some point pursuing this. About half of them raise their hands. So it's kind of even beyond just a class project. It's something that may hopefully, and I think is going to influence their business careers, for the rest of their lives probably. Yeah.
What we'd like to do next is the rest of our panelists kind of introduce themselves and say a little bit about what you learned, and maybe what over the last couple of hours, some of the ideas that maybe will come out of this for the next time. So let's start over here.
Yeah, I'm Dr. Laura Silvestro Mays, and what I learned is that by contributing to Tiffin University, and especially to this particular project, you get a really good return on your investment. And I can speak for Dan, I'm sure, to say that we're looking forward to participating in this next year as well, and for all the years into the future.
Yeah, I'm Dr. Dan Mays. I'm a managing partner at SMB Consulting Group and also an adjunct professor at Tiffin University. And what struck me about this competition, and I was a judge in the competition, what struck me about that was this really reminded me of moot court that law students have, or the mock trial that the high school students have when they're learning how to become lawyers. And I think this is moot court for entrepreneurs. The students really had the opportunity to experience what it's like to go in front of a board of investors and face the questions that they ask and make your, try to tell them everything you know in 10 minutes. And it's a very challenging and stressful experience to have as a business person, and anyone who's tried to raise money has been through this. And I think it's huge preparation for people to really be able to come in and they'll understand what business is like a lot more as a result of this experience.
I'm Tony Haan, and I'm a guest judge of this group. After watching this thing today, it does your heart good to see that they're doing things to give children in school an experience in what it takes to go into a business and how to set it up. And some of them were excellent, and some of them probably did what they knew how, which is probably not 100%. But I just think it was a great, great show. And I'm going back to I come from South Dakota. I'm going back to our business school, and I'm going to introduce them to this concept and see if they wouldn't do that down there. So, but it's been a good experience.
Well, as we close things out, and you guys, I commend all of you for spending the morning with these students and kind of teaching them, and I'm sure it was a wonderful experience for them. Now, you guys have all alluded to it, next year, years beyond, what did you learn from today's experience that maybe you would do differently, or, there are plans obviously to do this again?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, now that we've been through it once, there's definitely some things we'll continue, there are definitely some things we will tweak. I hope that we will get additional high school student participation. I'm pretty confident with what Dr. Haan is able to do in the classroom here at Tiffin University. There's no doubt that we're going to be able to develop our entrepreneurship program. I'm hopeful that we also will continue to get the high schools to be active participants in this. Because we need our young students, our young people, to start thinking about this earlier and be okay with risk taking and having, being ambiguous a little bit. And it was doing this for the first time, it was a little challenging because you had top level administrators at high schools that said, well, exactly what's this going to be like and how's it going to, and we were intentionally saying, we're not quite sure, but the end result's going to be just great. Your young person has to be selected based on, decent academic accomplishment, but also the ability to think outside the box and have a creative idea and really take a chance with it. So we really want to encourage that. I think that's the biggest thing. And I have no doubt that we're going to continue to get a lot of support from the community. Dr. Haan and I haven't talked about this, but I would love to see this become a statewide or a regional kind of competition where we bring in other communities that would maybe partner between colleges and high schools to do this type of thing. I know Ball State University has a very successful, and Indiana has a very successful competition plan. I think there are lots of things that we can do to make this bigger and better.
Well, guys, again, commend all of you for doing this, and clearly look forward to next year. We're going to be doing this again, the Entrepreneurial Boot Camp. On behalf of our entire panel here today, Jason Griffin saying goodbye from Tiffin University.